This is what we call an unforced error. So the new Superman movie drops, I think, the beginning of July. And from all accounts, it's testing well. Not great, but it's testing well. And there's a lot there's a lot riding on this movie because I think it's like 250 for the 250 on the budget, and then 200 in marketing, so it's at about 450 total. Comes out July 11th. And the marketing hasn't been great on it. They really haven't been able to put a clear message out. All of their ads and all of their trailers are kind of not really resonating. David Cornsweet, who is the Superman, he seems to be fine, but he's not Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill's shadow is hanging over this thing. So this is something they could have avoided. So this is from Comic Book News. Superman ditches patriotism for politics. James Gunn is getting rid of the idea of no truth, justice, and the American way. And what comes as no surprise, James Gunn's Superman ditches the classic traditional motto and replacing it with the more politically correct truth, justice, and the human way, which shouldn't be the Hugh person way, as the guys on WDW Pro said. Can't say man, it should be who person, or it should be the truth, justice, and the person way. See, there they said man, so they already messed it up. The phrase truth, justice, and the American way first popularized during the 1940s in the Adventures of Superman radio show. It became iconic in the 1950s series starring George Reeves. It's long been associated with the Man of Steel because Superman is an American brand. Superman is an American brand. I'm sorry if this upsets people, but that is the truth. However, similar to Gunn, Bryan Singer dropped the line in 2006 Superman Returns. And so it's just absolutely stupid. Superman now fights for the human way. Official Superman movie merchandise featuring David Cornsweet as Superman features a description on the box that replaces human way with the American way. I believe it's here. Yep, truth, justice, and the human way. Superman must reconcile his alien Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing, as reporter Clark Kent. As the embodiment of truth, justice, and the human way, he soon finds himself in a world that these views seem old-fashioned. See, if you think about it, the easiest character comparison I have to Superman is Captain America, because they're both products of a different time. Marvel, back when it was able to write characters and stories, understood that what made Captain America special was not his shield, not his strength, was the fact that he represented a different time. And we all kind of yearned for that classic values that he represented, which is why he kept them throughout his story arc. Superman should be a slam dunk for this because he is a representation of the old American values. Especially now with Trump in office, this should be a slam dunk to do it this way. But James Gunn, I'm not saying James Gunn is un-American. He just doesn't want anything to be conservative, especially after they canceled him, to be associated with that. It's also worth to mention that James Gunn has previously said he approved all the toys and such, so this likely comes straight from Gunn, which lines up with the reports that Gunn's Superman movie is more of a take on modern politics than a superhero story. Of course. Footage also features Superman getting mad at Lois Lane, which he calls him out for getting involved in politics. Of course, the trailers also features Americans mad and upset at Superman. Races, not other races, other nations not being. Report claims Gunn has laced Superman with political jabs, including Lex's mutant troll monkey army. What remains to be seen is how much of it will make its way into the final cut. And recent reports say that Superman has undergone a course correction because they're like, we have $450 million invested in this film. You need to act like a grown up and stop messing around. If this movie fails, the consensus is if Superman fails, then the era of the comic book movie is over. Now, some of you are like, I don't care if the comic book movie run ends. Good on them. I don't care. And that's fine. I don't care either. Comic book movies have run their course. They had a 10, 12-year run. You could even say 20 years if you count X-Men, Blade, and the first Spider-Man films, which you could easily do because they were making them up until the first Iron Man movie. So you could say comic book movies had a 20-year run. And if Superman, because Fantastic Four is going to bomb. Fantastic Four is not going to make any money. It is going to historically bomb because they made it part of the MCU. So everything's riding on Superman. And if James Gunn couldn't pull his head out of his own keister for one film to make it as neutral and positive as possible, then they deserve to go down with the ship. But the movie is 11th. We're about a month away from the film coming out. And the last thing Warner Brothers wants is to have this kind of press start to gin up against the film before it can get any positive momentum rolling.